It is Monday on Raid Shadow Legends, but you knew that. So the first thing you're going to see is that there is a brand new Prism Shard Summon Pool event, and this one is for Barbarians, because with the last update they had added the new and fourth faction unity champion into the game, Jun Lord, Greggs the Bakers. And you've probably seen the video title and the thumbnail, I think, and have seen why he's the worst. And I'm going to get something out of the way real quick, and that is, first off, he is not a terrible champion by anyone's definition, and I am far from advocating for them pushing a power creep up further and further, because at this point the game can barely handle it. But you have to look at it from an initial perspective that if this guy is only available via Prism Shards or via very specific summoning events before he becomes unobtainable, then he is being put at a higher premium than any of these other Ancient Shard available legendaries in the game, and I am going to judge him as such. So, first off, I'm going to say the main issue regarding faction unity champions in general is that they have a limited pool to work with in terms of allies to empower their own skill sets. Because instead of having like 250 champions to work with in legendaries alone, you have, well, like 20, including a mythical that you probably don't have. If you do, good for you. If you don't, then just buy primal shards. What's the issue? Like, if you don't have mythicals, then just buy primal shards until you have mythicals. This really isn't hard. So we're going to look at his kit and think where we plan to use him in the game, because he is what I call a nails and glue champion. What is a nails and glue champion? Well, what do nails and glue do in the real world? They keep things together so they don't fall apart. They don't create anything new, they just allow you to have things working that otherwise would not work as individual pieces. And that is where part of my concerns to him come along. Again, he's not a terrible champion, I just think that in terms of what they want us to do to get him is not entirely worth it. So starting off with my basic skill, which only has a 50% chance to provoke. These books do nothing. You might as well take 4 books and put them into the spiraling abyss. Now, before we go any further, you're probably thinking, how can you judge this champion if you don't have him? Well, I don't have him. No one has him. There's a bunch of champions that I don't have. Like, I don't have Pixel, but I already know that 18 books for this champion is like, what the hell are we doing over here? And what do you do with them? The answer is not really much, because like, but anyway, but we are showcasing, well, not showcasing, talking about Jun Lord GREGGOR and not Pixel, so back on topic. Next is 2. Again, this is a fine skill. I don't have any real problems with this. It just seems like generic legendary A2 that we've seen multiple times before and really isn't special at this point. Doesn't have to be special, just has to enable something, and we have other options of this. And now for the A3 witches, where we have the faction unity bonuses. The baseline skill is increased attack and increased accuracy. So how many increased attacks champions do we have in Barbarians who benefit from this? Alaz doesn't. There is Eldersgarg, Xena, Rorik, who is, he's more of a control champion than a nuke champion, let's be honest. Jetney, Turvold, and Yakal. Now, one thing I want to say about Barbarians is that 2 of their best champions are no longer obtainable to anyone. She was only from limited time, and same for Lee's because they were crossovers. And obviously there is Armand's, who the less said about him the better. And I think they just didn't want this guy to enable Funny Magician Man too much, so that's why this skill does not overly enable him. Now, obviously, it does a few things for him, but I think overall you have to ask, like, where exactly are you using this champion? And as we look over this a second time, we will reevaluate this. And then we have this passive, which is the same as the Sulfur Grim baseline, but extra bonuses. Now, looking at this is pretty much balanced around you having either Valkyrie or Alaz. And if you don't have them, this is significantly weaker. And otherwise, it's fine, but I think this is like merely fine. So let's look into where we plan to use this champion. Arena and Live Arena. So first off, you would have to draft or pick 3 champions from here because Epic still don't have enough stats, even with Epic Empowerment. They tried, and I mean, Epics are Epics, and you'd probably pick Armand's. Alas, if you have him, then maybe like Valkyrie, Xena, Isuga, etc. Like, a lot of these are kind of a bit outdated in their own ways, or aren't really suited for arena usage. Hydra, I wouldn't say he's a best Hydra champion. Like, he does bits and pieces here, but if you have a roster to a point where you can pick any Barbarians champion at all, then I'd say with him he's actually pretty decent. You do this, you have him go faster and can be pretty decent, I guess. But apart from that, dungeons, again, I will say that if there's any champion that would make you want to grind out Chronom, it's this guy. And if you have others, like, again, even with like Nagante, like, it's pretty fine because her A1 does like nothing. So especially when you already have this guy giving increased accuracy. So now you're probably thinking, well, you said this guy's the worst. He seems fine so far. What's the issue here? If anything, I would say Aslan the Stalwart is worse. And, well, I would kind of partially agree, because this guy was not all it cracked out to be. Everyone was worried at first because they saw the sheer amount of support that Bandlords has, and then he just didn't get picked too much. I think it might actually have been that this guy came along and kicked a lot of Ukraine's overpresence out of Live Arena and Arena in general. But yeah, I would say that at this point he's struggling a bit. The other two I barely see and can't really form too much of an opinion on. And regardless of that, we're going to keep with Greg's over here. And I think overall they could have just, like, even if it is just for sake of nails and glue, they could have pushed him out a little bit further. And either way, if you're opening or buying Prism Shards or not, you've probably had your mind made up either way, regardless of watching this. Because 3 of these are decent enough. 3 of them could use a bit of an update in time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll let you think about it from there, because I don't tell you what to think, I just tell you what I think, and for you to consider it from there. And yeah, see ya.